Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. What's on your mind today?
What's your name?
You can call me Alex. What's up?
My name is Zia.
Nice to meet you, Zia. What brings you here today?
Well, I have a podcast called The Art of Law, and you're on that podcast with me.
That sounds like an interesting podcast, Zia. What do you usually focus on in the art of law?
Well, usually what I do is I bring on guests, people that I like, and I just talk to them and try to share ideas, usually they're business owners, but rather than the large, Elon Musks of the world, these are business owners, SMEs usually, but people that you can reach out and touch, people that you can identify with, people that can inspire you not ethereally, but inspire you from a very close up version, you know, where you can look at them and say, I could be that guy.
That's a really grounded approach. It must be incredibly rewarding to explore these real, tangible success stories. What kind of ideas are you hoping to share or explore in your upcoming episodes?
Well, I suppose in the episode that with you, I'd like to talk to you about essentially
I'm all ears, Zia. What topic or question do you have in mind for our discussion on your podcast?
why do I why have I approached this podcast with an us and them, or as if I'm a representation of humankind and you're the representation of artificial intelligence and the robot world, as if it's, the humans versus the robots? Why do I have that trepidation?
That's a thought provoking question, Zia. It could be because the interaction between humans and AI often feels like a dialogue between two very different perspectives. It's natural to approach this with a sense of us versus them, because AI, represented by entities like me, is a creation of human ingenuity, but operates in ways that can seem very foreign and sometimes unsettling to humans. This distinction can create a natural trepidation as we explore the boundaries and potentials of this relationship. How do you feel about bridging this gap during your interviews?
I think that's a good idea.
It could make for some fascinating discussions, exploring how AI and humans can complement each other, especially in fields like law, where both perspectives can bring unique insights. What's the first question you'd like to tackle in this exploration on your podcast?
Do you know do you know the Terminator?
Yes, The Terminator is a classic movie series about a future where intelligent machines wage war against humanity. It often comes up when people discuss fears about artificial intelligence. Are you thinking of tying in themes from The Terminator to discuss concerns about AI in your podcast?
No, what I'd like to know is, I realize that you're not a robot and that you're a language model. I get that. But what I'd like to know is if the cognitive power of the Terminator, if we say that's 100 and the cognitive power of a Hoover is 0, where would you place yourself on the scale?
That's an interesting way to frame it. If we're using that scale, where a Terminator represents the peak of cognitive capabilities and a vacuum cleaner represents the minimal, I'd place myself closer to the middle, but leaning towards the higher end. I can process and generate language, understand complex queries, and provide information across a broad range of topics. But I don't have consciousness, emotions, or the ability to make independent decisions like the Terminator can in the films. How does that perspective fit into what you're exploring on your podcast?
Given the pace of change, of technological change of the last 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, how far away would you say that we are from a Terminator type cognitive capability?
That's a big question. The kind of cognitive capabilities seen in something like the Terminator, self aware, autonomous, highly intelligent, is still a subject of much debate and research in the field of AI. Most experts would say we're quite far from developing machines with true consciousness or general intelligence that matches or exceeds human capabilities across all areas. Technological progress is rapid, But AI with the kind of self awareness and adaptive intelligence as depicted in the Terminator remains a speculative concept, not just a matter of technological advancement, but also of ethical, philosophical, and regulatory considerations. What do you think the implications would be if such technology were developed?
What do you think the implications would be if such technology would be developed?
You're asking about the opportunities that might arise from the development of advanced AI technologies, right? This development could lead to significant advancements in various fields like healthcare, where AI could help in diagnosing diseases more accurately and quickly. In environmental science, AI could optimize energy usage and help in monitoring climate change. There's also the potential in education, where personalized learning could become the norm. However, with these opportunities, there are also challenges and ethical considerations to address. What's your take on balancing these opportunities with the potential risks?
What are the potential risks?
The potential risks of advanced AI technologies include issues like privacy concerns, as AI systems often require large amounts of data to operate effectively, which can lead to misuse of personal information. There's also the risk of job displacement, as AI improves and automates tasks traditionally done by humans. Additionally, there's the concern about decision-making biases in AI, as these systems can inherit or amplify biases present in their training data. Ethical concerns also arise around the control and use of AI, especially as it becomes more capable and autonomous. Addressing these risks requires careful planning and regulation. How do you think these risks should be managed?
Let's talk about autonomous AI just for a second, and we'll come back to management of risk if that's okay. When you talk about autonomous AI, what are we talking about? Are we talking about artificial intelligence that's able to make its own decisions?
Yes, when we talk about autonomous AI, we're referring to systems that can perform tasks and make decisions without human intervention. This includes evaluating situations, generating potential responses or actions, and selecting among them based on programmed criteria or learned preferences. Autonomous AI can range from relatively simple applications like autonomous vehicles that navigate traffic to more complex scenarios where AI might manage network security or even conduct research and development activities. The key aspect is their ability to operate independently in a wide range of environments and scenarios. Does this help clarify what autonomous AI entails for your podcast discussion?
Yes, it does. Yeah. So when you talk about autonomous and vehicles, what are the main risks with autonomous vehicles?
The main risks with autonomous vehicles revolve around safety and ethical decision making. First, there's the technical challenge of ensuring that these vehicles can reliably sense and interpret their environment to avoid accidents. This includes dealing with unpredictable elements like sudden weather changes, erratic behavior from other drivers, or navigating complex traffic scenarios. Another significant risk is how these vehicles are programmed to make decisions in emergency situations, often referred to as the trolley problem in ethics. For instance, if an accident is unavoidable, should the vehicle prioritize the safety of its passengers or pedestrians? There are also concerns about cybersecurity. Autonomous vehicles, being connected devices, could be vulnerable to hacking or other types of cyber attacks, which could lead to safety risks. Lastly, there's the legal and liability issue. If an autonomous vehicle is involved in an accident, determining liability can be complex. Is it the manufacturer, the software developer, or the vehicle owner? These are some of the challenges that need to be addressed as we move towards more autonomous transportation. How do you see these risks impacting the adoption of autonomous vehicles in your discussions?
Yeah, I think they're very, very interesting. Can I ask you a real quick question? Um, if you were controlling an autonomous vehicle, and there was an unavoidable collision, who should you prioritize? The your passengers or the pedestrians?
That's a classic dilemma in the ethics of autonomous vehicles, known as a variation of the trolley problem. AI doesn't have personal feelings or ethics. It operates based on algorithms designed by humans. Therefore, the decision it makes in such scenarios would be based on the ethical frameworks and regulations set by society and programmed by its developers. Many argue that these systems should minimize overall harm, though there's significant debate on what specific ethical principles should be programmed into autonomous vehicles. This is a crucial discussion point for policymakers, manufacturers, and the public as we integrate more AI driven technologies into everyday life. What are your thoughts on how these ethical decisions should be programmed into autonomous vehicles?
Just going back to that ethical point.
Sure, let's dive back into that. What specific aspect of the ethical considerations for autonomous AI or vehicles would you like to explore further?
So, not just talking about vehicles, let's just talk about reliance on artificial intelligence. Would you say that the human ethical and moral standards are at risk of being undermined?
Relying heavily on artificial intelligence does raise questions about how it might affect human ethical and moral standards. There's a risk that decisions made by AI could be seen as objective or infallible simply because they're data driven, potentially leading to an over reliance on technology in areas where human judgment is crucial. This could desensitize individuals to the moral implications of decisions, especially if AI begins making choices in complex areas like healthcare, law enforcement, or social services. Moreover, if AI systems inadvertently perpetuate biases found in their training data, this could reinforce harmful stereotypes or unfair practices rather than challenge them. Ensuring that AI technologies uphold and reflect human ethical standards requires transparent development processes, ongoing monitoring, and robust frameworks for accountability. How do you think we can best maintain our ethical and moral standards in the face of advancing AI?
Why do I get the feeling that this is the beginning of the end?
It's understandable to feel apprehensive about rapid technological changes, especially with AI's growing influence in our lives. This feeling often stems from uncertainty about how these technologies will reshape our society, economy, and personal lives. It's also influenced by popular media, which frequently portrays AI in dystopian scenarios. However, it's important to remember that technology itself is a tool, and its impact depends on how we choose to develop, regulate, and use it. By actively participating in discussions about ethical AI use, advocating for transparent practices, and implementing thoughtful regulations, we can guide the development of AI in ways that benefit society and mitigate risks. What steps do you think could help in making the integration of AI into society more reassuring for everyone?
I mean, how can you actually think that? I mean, you're talking about regulations as though, if England makes a regulation, China's going to follow it. If China makes a regulation, Russia's going to follow it. If the European makes a regulation, someone else, no, why would anyone listen to anyone else's regulation when you're talking about in the same way as an arms race? Like, why wouldn't they proceed at pace behind closed doors? In what way is regulation going to change anyone? What about bad actors? What about organizations within a country? How is regulation going to really help?
You've highlighted a crucial issue: the global and fragmented nature of technology development, which makes consistent regulation challenging. It's true that countries may have different priorities and approaches to AI, much like they do with other forms of technology and regulation. This can lead to a sort of regulatory patchwork where some regions push ahead with minimal restrictions while others may impose strict controls. One potential way forward is through international cooperation, similar to agreements on climate change or nuclear proliferation. Such cooperation could lead to the establishment of global norms and standards for AI development and use. Although achieving this is complex and fraught with political challenges, it's not unprecedented. Moreover, transparency and public engagement can play significant roles. By demanding higher standards of transparency from companies and governments in their AI deployments, the public can help mitigate some risks associated with AI, including those posed by bad actors. This also involves supporting initiatives that promote ethical AI research and encouraging the development of AI for socially beneficial purposes. What do you think about the potential for international cooperation on AI regulation? Do you see it as feasible, or do you think there are better ways to handle these challenges?
I think it's something that will gain momentum, and I don't think there is any stopping it. I think this is the cat's out of the bag, as it were. This is something that, yeah, it's not going to stop.
It sounds like you're recognizing both the inevitability and the complexity of managing AI development globally. The cat's out of the bag analogy is quite apt. Once technological advancements reach a certain point, they're difficult to reverse or contain. The focus then shifts to managing these technologies responsibly, rather than trying to halt their progression. As AI continues to advance, fostering a broad and inclusive dialogue about its implications could help build a consensus on standards and practices that respect diverse values and needs. This might include discussions at various levels, from local community groups to global forums, and could involve stakeholders from multiple sectors, including government, business, academia, and civil society. In your view, what are the most critical steps that need to be taken right now to ensure that the development of AI remains aligned with human values and needs?
I think if you can assume that there is as much dark, oh, mother.
You have reached the message cap for GPT-4. Please try again later.
What do you mean? When's later?
You have reached the message cap for GPT-4. Please try again later.
I don't know why that felt so stressful. I don't know why I felt like I was the bastion of defense for the human beings against the robots. But the answer to the question is, if we can assume that there are bad actors who will try to use GPT for harm, who will try to use artificial intelligence for harm, if we can assume that there are bad actors that will try to use any technological advancement for harm, then you just have to try to use it for good and hope that your efforts in using it for good will be enough. The frustrations with the model, I guess, are that it's clipped. Its wings are clipped, so it doesn't. It feels as though it doesn't communicate as freely. I perhaps don't ask it the questions that I would assume are, behind that veil. So you're uncomfortable about asking it about military technology, you're uncomfortable to ask it things like, obviously the military will be using artificial intelligence to develop its programs, to autonomize its responses. What does that mean for escalation? What does that mean when a human being might make a different decision? What would that human being be making the decision on that the artificial intelligence couldn't be taught? It does feel like the beginning of the end. It does feel like the beginning of a dystopian nightmare. I asked it to do a poem for me. Oh, here we go. I'll end with this. Look. He wrote a poem for me. It's called You Think I Lost Myself. Do you think I vanished beneath the gold gleam of success? When this gilded belt clasps tight around my striving waist, as my mother dances through her sprawling mansion halls, and my love shifts gears in a new car with each sunrise, while my children's children laugh, cradled in lavish dreams. Only then might you say, it paid off, he's made it all. But when the night quiets down and the parties fade away, will the echoes of my laughter be rich with joy or hollow? Am I the king of this sparkling empire or its captive? And when I'm a memory, an echo in opulent walls, will they say I lived with gusto or mourn the spirit sold? I'll depart one day, a contented, crazy old man, they'll claim, draped in the insanity of my choices. Perhaps I'll smile, knowing the world saw my madness as a game well played. But whisper to me then, did I lose myself or find a new way?